So welcome back to the podcast. I'm so excited. And you know that I don't have guests all the time, but when I do, they are amazing. And I'm just positive that this is going to be an amazing conversation. So I have AnthonyKarls with me, and we have exciting stuff to talk about today. But Anthony, can you give us a background about yourself and your firm, please?
Sure. Anthony Karls, I'm the co-founder of Sterling Lawyers, and I'm the current president of Rocket Clicks. So Sterling Lawyers is a exclusively family firm that is in Wisconsin, Illinois. We have about 32 attorneys on staff, and we grew that in the last 10 years. In 2002, I moved over to Rocket Clicks and helped reorient that agency to specifically serving family law clients, doing exactly what we did with Sterling Law for other firms across the country. So prior to doing that, my background, I was going to school to actually be a CPA. It was during this 09 period.
Bad times.
It was, not a great time. And I was on my own. I couldn't take an internship that didn't pay. So for whatever reason, data analytics internship at a marketing company called Rocket Clicks qualified for some internship credits, and I never left. So I stayed there and I continued to grow. The combination of psychology and data really drew to me. When you understand the internet, how it works, there's so much leverage to be extracted there, and you can build a great business. So that would be generally my background.
No, absolutely. And I love that I've talked to quite a few marketers, and a lot of them, I've only run into one marketing firm that works with law firms that will do any type of law. Doesn't matter. Everybody else we only work with B2C because it's too hard to market the B2B, right? But I really like that you guys have niched into the family law, because there really is, different areas of law, it's just a whole different game, right? So like an ad that you would do for, any marketing that you would do for PI would be different than family law versus immigration. So I love that you guys have even niched further instead of like B2B to B2C and gone into family. I love that. So today we decided that we were going to talk about leaky websites, which I already told, we were talking before this, that leaky is just a word. Leakage, I don't know what it is. It's one of those words where it's not moist. Like some people are like, I hate that word. I actually love the word leaky because it's attention grabbing.
Welcome to your Profitable Law Firm podcast. I'm Kelley Brubaker, your dedicated host, passionate about empowering law firm owners. Let's dive into the hidden strategies that lead to overflowing profits, scaled growth, and thriving lives. This is where overwhelm transforms into confidence, enabling you to create and enjoy your dream firm and your dream life.
So let's talk about leaky websites. What's the problem here that we need to know about?
Sure. So oftentimes when a business owner identifies that they want to grow, they will think they need to generate more marketing. Sometimes that's true, sometimes it's not. And oftentimes they neglect the traffic that they're actually getting. And what you end up doing is you send essentially more water into a super leaky bucket. There's a lot of holes in it. So what does that mean? Like there's a lot of different things from a conversion rate perspective. How are you trying to convert your users? So it starts online with conversions of users. How are you doing your UI UX? Does your website load really well on a mobile device? Most people that kind of work in an office like we do, we're on a computer all day, and we forget that like all of our customers, they're using this.
I'm guilty. I'm so guilty of that. Absolutely. I get it. Absolutely. Yeah.
And like, how does it work on mobile? Is the user experience good on mobile? About 78% of traffic now is coming on a mobile device. So it's such a significant portion. And then it goes offline. So there's a huge portion of kind of where a website will perform worse, both in Google search rankings because of how a call center is set up and how it's not answering the calls, or it's not responding to web leads in an appropriate timeline. And what ends up happening is what Google's incentivized to do is deliver the best possible result, right? So what that means to Google specifically is a termination of search. So if you're searching for something in a category, if you go to a website and you go back to the Google search page, you now have, that's a negative for your site because you went back and continued to search in that same topic. So what you want to do is you want to terminate the search. And when you don't answer the phone, you don't respond to web leads, you don't do things offline that are really important, you actually negatively impact your website in a pretty significant way.
That's interesting because I didn't think about Google, and I do now that you're saying this, and I'm thinking I do for my website. I get, because I have my Google My Business profile, and I'll get an email once a month, and it didn't even occur to me because it says something like number of clicks and then number of calls, and it gives me like an update whether that's up or down, stuff like that. So it didn't even occur to me that they would penalize me for not answering the phone, because I think I have my business hours listed as 24/7. So somebody could click my phone, click on my listing at like 11 o'clock at night. I'm not going to answer it. So maybe I need to update my business hours a little bit to help Google do better for me.
Or have an answering service after hours, which can be very, very cost effective and affordable. But yeah, if your offline signals don't actually support what you're trying to accomplish online, it can actually have a negative impact. The biggest lesson we learned in this actually was when I was at a different company called Sterling Satellite, and we were an affiliate for Dish Network, and we had our own website, and we ranked well organically. We got to the second position, but we weren't actually handling the customer service calls, and Google ended up penalizing us very significantly because about 68% of the traffic, especially once you get in the top 3 spots, were current clients. They were current clients of Dish Network, not new customers. So we ignored a huge portion, and Google's like, this site's not relevant. We just moved it to the second position. Everybody's bouncing back to the search results. So we got relegated pretty far down the web page. And it was like a really interesting lesson learned when we did the postmortem on it, because it was very obvious like what happened once we fully understood it.
No, that's crazy to me. And I had shared before we got on this call, I'd been a business owner for 20 years, and I don't think I've ever really dug into, I honestly can't even tell you where my web page ranks. I do know I just got my first lead from ChatGPT, and I was shocked. Like, we jumped on the call and I was like, I'm an intake form, you put ChatGPT. And she's like, yeah, I went in and said, like, explain what my struggle was and asked ChatGPT, what do I do? And it recommended you and like 2 other people. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So I feel like there's a shift coming, but I don't know exactly how that's going to play out. But no, that's all interesting that I just haven't kept up with, how websites should be structured. And I never made that connection between website and offline. So that's pretty interesting. No, absolutely. So what are things that we need to do to fix all this?
So first and foremost, when we're looking at a website in the viewport, or anytime you're looking at the screen, you need to have a conversion action for a business service. For a service-based business, like you're a service-based business, we're a service-based business, you're going to want to make sure that the user can call and submit a web lead, and it's very easy to find on every single page. You also need to be comfortable with data. So we use a tool called Call Tracking Metrics. It gives us the data on where the users came from, and it shows us how many visits they've had on our site and where they came from and all that type of stuff. And then so that gives us a lot of information once they do call in terms of where they were and what they did.
Right.
And then on the web form side, if they submit a web form, we want to respond to that within about 5 minutes. If you don't respond within that 5-minute period, it's about a 90% chance you're not going to ever get a hold of that person. So it's so important that you follow up really quickly, because that's what they're actually expecting. So on top of that, when you're doing web forms, obviously you want to kind of get some general information, but two really good opportunities is capturing their email address and capturing their phone number. Not just because you can contact them, but because you can remarket to your clients. So in the family law space, when we've done survey, like in-person surveys with clients that have worked with us, one of the things that we always ask them, and we've done this about 30 or so times now, is how far in advance did you actually start doing the research before you called any law firm? And the average is like 18 to 36 months, 18 months to 36 months, which means if you're in yeah. So like, cause you like going through a divorce isn't like buying, you know, some widget off of Amazon.
Well, trust me, I'm divorced, bro.
So there's a long research.
2 years in the making.
Yeah. So there's like a long research process of like what happens to that house. If I have kids, like what do parenting plans look like, all of these things. And like, there's just this corpus of search they're doing. So if you can capture some of those information pieces, you can very efficiently remarket to those users all along the journey and get brand reps in front of them. So when they are ready to call, they remember your name because they're going to be on this journey for a while. The petitioners, the respondents, they will convert really well through paid search because they got papers and they're like, oh my God, I don't know what's happened. So,
yeah, exactly. Like, oh my God, they just got served.
So they're two different buyers. So you need to have really good funnels for both. One is research oriented and the other one's more action oriented. And then obviously you need to meld them together so that you have a cohesive website. But those are some big things that I would really focus on is like, are you capturing the right information so that you can leverage it along the client's purchase journey, as well as learn what's working and what's not working in the marketplace so you can go do more of what's working and stop doing what's not.
Oh, and I'm a big fan of that. So that's usually one of my selling points when I talk to law firms about, fractional CFO work. I want to celebrate the things at work, right? So yeah, I love that you do that because and avoid the things that don't, right? I mean, why, because what is it? If you do the same thing over and over and expect a different outcome, that's the definition of insanity, right? So it amazes me. And I'm guilty, like I'll just keep doing the same thing over and over. And I'm like, and then finally like time out. What am I doing? I need to do something different. What does work? We need to redirect into that. So this is awesome. So share with me, what's your ideal client and, how would you work with clients then? So family law practice, I'm assuming that would be your ideal client. Is there any more specifics than that with family law?
So it's typically a firm that's got at least 2 or 3 attorneys or more. So that where they have some like real opportunity and they've started really building a business and they're not just like one person that's trying to do their own thing independently without any staff. So kind of getting over that, fired somebody, got payroll, kind of doing this really. When we start working with clients, so one of the things that's unique about us that we developed at Sterling was what we call the Waterfall. And it's a tool that we use that basically tracks the value from a user online all the way through when cash gets received. And there's a whole bunch of different touch points in between them. She wrote a book that's coming out in September, literally detailing the entire process of how we did that. But there's so much, you use the word leaky. There's so much leaky pieces of a business when you're not actually looking at all of those metrics and ratios. So when we work with clients, we're very obsessive about making sure we get access to data. So if we're not going to be able to kind of see the P&L and see the CRM data, I'm not interested in working with you because I want to be hired for what a marketing company can actually do, which should be the spear in driving you revenue. If they're not doing that, you should cut it off because it's a vestigial organ that is useless. It is such a useless piece of the business because it's just a cost center and it's not adding additional value. So the way we do that is we build custom waterfalls for all of our clients. We track exactly how they're historically performing over the last 2 years, and then how we start implementing the different strategies to grow their revenue and optimize their business so that we can really see the real impact.
Yeah. And I like that because you're right. It's not, I get suspicious when somebody is like, hey, just, I'll just do this one thing and then it'll just be the thing. Right. And it's like, well, no, like you have to show the cutoff of where things changed, and then it's going to take time, right? So it's a long-term relationship. I talked to somebody probably beginning of this year that had hired a very well-known in the legal industry marketing company. And the first conversation we had about it, it was, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. Yes, I'm paying them a ton of money, but my phone is literally ringing off the hook. And I'm like, okay, well, that's awesome. How come I don't see more cash, like more cash coming into your bank account? Well, because the leads coming in are, you know, criminal. It was like every other practice of law that this guy doesn't practice, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm out here.
Yeah.
So you're getting more leads, but they're not for what you practice. And he's like, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's
So,
one of the metrics that we've got. I mean, it's not, it's fun to talk about, but like the reality is most clients that we work with, when they start, they don't have a definition of what a qualified lead is. It's just like whatever the intake person decided on that one phone call is qualified or not. And then did they get yelled at from the attorney when it got scheduled on a calendar? It's kind of like the process. One of the things that we do with clients is coach them on like this super important metric, because it's essentially a supply demand curve. And if you understand how to properly optimize that supply and demand curve, you can maximize your revenue opportunity, because you don't actually want 100% qualified leads, because you're going to cut out a huge portion of the marketplace. You actually, what we found at Sterling, our model, it's about 35% of your leads, they're actually unqualified. That's on purpose. So it's about a 55 to 65% qualified lead rate. That allows us to set good consults. It allows us to understand like what marketing channels are driving this ratio, which ones aren't. Let's get rid of those. So there's just so much power in like understanding these waterfall, what we call waterfall numbers, so that the business can actually optimize their business and make more money. Because exactly what your point. Okay, the phone's ringing more, but we're not making any more money. That just means we're spending more money.
And really, like, thankfully, I had that conversation with this person pretty early on, because then like the light bulb went off, like, oh, I should pay attention to this. And then I said, okay, but it's already happening at this point and you're in this contract. I don't remember how long the contract was for, but I'm like, we need to harness and somehow convert this. We need to make money off this. And I said, okay, the first thing I'm going to tell you is, as an attorney, you're going to have fee share, right? So who are the other people you know in the same market you can refer this work out to? And so he was able to refer out a lot of the leads, and some of that then started coming in. And then he ended up finding an of counsel relationship where he was like, some of this I'm just going to keep. I'll send it to an of counsel, and then he can do it for me. And I'm still making money on this. So, we turned it into a win. And then as soon as he could get out of it, that was gone. And it was on to something else. I'll do a better place. But no, so this is awesome. I love this. I love what you're doing with the waterfall. I'm, as a CPA, I'm a huge numbers person. And my whole thing is because numbers don't lie. I mean, I know attorneys are usually like, no, I don't want to hear numbers. And I'm like, I know, I get it, but numbers don't lie. They tell you a story. So let me tell you what the story is. I'll convert the numbers into a conversation. So that's kind of my thing, but no, I love, because you have the data and it's right there. And I like that the waterfall, it's a good picture, right, of how this is going to work. Because I know at one point I had started offering a new service for me and I wasn't seeing money come in. And it took me going back and looking at my leads, and I'm like, oh, I still converted 35% of them. And then I realized like those were just bad leads to begin with. And I was able to like go through after I went through all the leads, and and then I felt better. I'm like, okay, now I feel better with this. So no, this is awesome. I love this.
Yeah. I mean, one of the biggest benefits to it is, from our perspective, a lot of times we'll enter relationships and an attorney will say, hey, I heard about this SEO thing. Can you do this for me? This is what I need. This will help me grow my business. We'll get the waterfall numbers put together, and it's like, you're only answering 60% of your phone calls. Like, can we answer about 85% of your phone calls? Like, I'm getting your leads just by answering the phone. Like, that will significantly help. Or you're answering your calls, but your show rates on your consults aren't good. Are you doing any sales enablement from the point of initial contact to consult to like continue selling them and sending them information about why your firm is the one that they want to work with, who your attorneys are, what they love, all those things to like actually sell the client into it, because nobody else is going to do that. You're going to make such a big impact just by doing some of these small things.
Yeah.
It's going to make you more money. And we didn't even add anything to the top of the funnel yet.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love that. That's all good stuff. That's awesome. So if somebody's listening and they're like, well, first off, can you share the title of your book? I'm excited because I've published 2 books. I mean, they're self-published, but I'm on Amazon. Like you can Amazon my name and I pop up, and that makes me so proud. So I first want to celebrate, publishing a book because it's grueling. I'm not gonna lie. Like it took me a long time. My first book took me like a year and a half. Oh, it took forever. My second one was a lot faster, but so let's celebrate your book.
Yeah, so it's coming out in September. It's called The Waterfall Method. And it's kind of an ominous book. Looks like a mystery book, and it's because there is a mystery here. Like let's understand what a waterfall is and how to put it together and how you can make more money. So it's called The Waterfall Method. So it's coming out in September. We're really excited about that.
No, that's awesome. I love that. So if somebody's listening and they, whether they buy the book or not, we're going to encourage them to buy the book, right? How would they get in touch with you? And we can put links in the show notes for people who are listening, on a podcast. But yeah, how would people get in touch with you?
Sure. So if anyone wants to get in touch with us or they're interested in the book, so if you go to rocketclicks.com, before the book is released, we're actually giving it away for free for people that sign up. So go to the website. It's just resources section. Just sign up for that. But yeah, go to rocketclicks.com. There's a form there, phone number. Happy to have conversations. You can also follow us on all the major social platforms and see what kind of interesting content we're putting in. So.
No, that's awesome. And I had mentioned before we jumped on, I had actually seen you on YouTube. And so when your agent had like reached out and said, hey, do you want to interview him? I'm like, well, heck yeah, I do. I've seen your stuff. So yeah, definitely good stuff. You have good content, and I'm just really encouraged by, the businesses who are really supporting the other small businesses, right? I mean, it's a tough world that we live in. And there's a lot of, like as a CPA, I cringe when I see like the TikToks of, oh, I bought this Lambo and I wrote it off on my taxes. I'm like, okay, stop.
Yeah.
So, but when I come across someone
for less than $2,000 daily rental, that's what they're wanting.
That's exactly what it was. Yeah, it was a photo shoot, right? But yeah, so when I come across somebody who actually has real value, valuable content that's really truly helping people, that I want to celebrate those. So I definitely, like I said, love your content and encourage people to follow you and contact you for more information. So thank you for being here today. I've had an enjoyable conversation, and I wish you the best with your book.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Hey, before you go, grab my new book, Plugging the Leaks: 10 Ways Lawyers Waste Money and Simple Fixes. It's a quick read, plain English, packed with checklists, templates, the 7 to 60-day collections escalator, and the Core 4 dashboard, so you can keep more of every dollar you earn. Now, you can order the paperback or Kindle on Amazon, or you can download it for free, the PDF format, using the link in the show notes below. Remember that profit is something you intentionally plan for in the beginning. It's not a potential bonus at the end of the year. Thanks for listening.